Good evening. When the sun sets, it is time for your top stories from Sunset News. As usual, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather, sports, and so much more. I am Glenora Shipura. Starting us off in the news tonight, President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah is expected to travel to Cape Town, South Africa on Friday to attend the 9th Southern African Customs Union Summit of Heads of State and Government. The summit will bring together leaders from Namibia, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, and South Africa to engage on key issues, including regional economic integration, industrial development, and trade cooperation. Key discussions will focus on the implementation and midterm review of SACCU's 2022 to 2027 strategic plan, as well as the impact of global economic developments on member states. Leaders are also expected to consider the future direction of the bloc. Other agenda items include progress on industrialization, the development of regional value chains, customs modernization, trade facilitation, investment promotion, and opportunities under the African Continental Free Trade Area. The presidency says the summit presents Namibia with an opportunity to advocate for a more adaptive and forward-looking SACCU that strengthens regional economic integration and trade cooperation. Getting into our next story, the Women's Leadership Center has officially launched a new 2-year program aimed at improving access to education for San children across Namibia. The initiative, titled San Children Embrace Education, was launched in Windhoek today. According to the organization, the program seeks to address barriers that continue to affect school attendance and learning outcomes among San communities, with a focus on strengthening long-term educational support and inclusion. WLC Director Liz Frank says the intervention is designed to ensure that San children are not left behind in the education system, but are instead given targeted support to improve participation and academic success. Here she is.
Ask the question again. Today we had a wonderful launch of our new program, project San Children Embrace Education. We were grateful to have Minister of Education here, to have Niat here, EU ambassador, not ambassadors, embassies, a lot of partner organizations, and of course our wonderful team of community leaders, facilitators from 8 San villages where we're going to implement the project.
Why is it important? Why is it necessary?
This project, San children are still so way behind, so excluded, so discriminated against, so bullied. Their languages are not taught in school. They don't find themselves in the curriculum, in the textbooks. They start school in Timbukushu or in Oshiherero, depending on where they live, because the schools are not teaching their mother tongues. Some of those languages are not even written. So there's a huge backlog in terms of this, the official education system to actually embrace San children and to really, really make sure they are equal students in our schools.
Infrastructure shortages, unemployment, poverty, and limited access to water, housing, and sanitation have been identified as some of the key development challenges facing Kavango West under the region's newly launched 2025 to 2030 strategic plan. The plan was launched in Nkarankuru today and outlines the region's development priorities for the next 5 years. Speaking at the launch, Director of Planning Egidius Nambara said the Council has adopted 4 strategic pillars and 10 strategic objectives aimed at addressing these challenges. The plan will be supported by an estimated $160.6 million Namibian operational budget over the 5-year period. Let's have a look.
Focus areas based on the issues that we have identified, or what we call strategic pillars. There are 4 of them that we have identified or we have crafted. The first one is infrastructure development. The second one is social and economic transformation. Third one is operational excellence. And the fourth is equitable access to quality education. This will be our focus area for the next 5 years. Whatever we do, these 4 areas should always be in our mind. Now, having come up with the 4 focus areas, now we have to come up with the strategic objectives, which will guide us in tackling.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nambara. I think before we go.
The Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism has officially released the Namibia 2025 Tourist Arrival Statistics Report, launched by Honorable Minister Indeleni Daniel in Windhoek. The report shows Namibia recorded 1,217,108 tourist arrivals in 2025, reflecting a 3.2% decline compared to 2024. While this indicates a slight downturn in arrivals, the ministry says the findings provide critical insight to strengthen the tourism sector going forward. Key priority areas identified include improving competitiveness, enhancing visitor safety, strengthening destination marketing, and expanding tourism product diversification. A key milestone in this year's report is the inclusion of national park visitor statistics for the first time, offering deeper insight into tourism flows within protected areas and supporting better planning and conservation management. Despite the decline, tourism remains a vital contributor to Namibia's economy, supporting livelihoods, communities, and conservation efforts. The report will guide both public and private sector stakeholders as they work to rebuild momentum and strengthen Namibia's position as a leading destination in Southern Africa travel. And that concludes our top stories. On the other side of this, we get into your entertainment news.
From the heart of the continent to its farthest horizons, Africa awakens with stories that shape our world. This is Africa Good Morning, your window into the pulse of a dynamic continent. I'm Ashwin Berry, here to deliver the latest news, sharp insights, and the vibrant spirit of Africa. Every weekday, we dive into the headlines, uncover untold stories, and spotlight the people driving change. Plus, stay ahead with daily weather forecasts and economic updates to navigate your week with confidence. With direct coverage from our correspondents on the ground, we bring you in-depth access to Africa's beating heart. Mondays, Mike Situla reports from Zambia.
Africa Good Morning.
Tuesdays, Talent Gore covers Zimbabwe.
Africa.
Wednesdays, Rorisang Mohojwe brings Botswana's news. Dumela Rorisang.
Thank you very much, Ashwin, for having me right here on Africa Good Morning. It is always a pleasure to be here with you all.
Thursdays, Ari Hogarth tackles South Africa.
Yes, very good morning, Ashwin and Anna. Yes, a good atmosphere.
And Fridays, we focus on Namibia's bold narratives. From thriving cities to rugged plains, our team is there, capturing the rhythm of a continent on the rise. Africa Good Morning is your essential start. News, weather, economics, and more.
Local artist Jeremiah Haihambo has shared the personal inspiration behind his new solo exhibition titled Wildlife is My Asset, Culture is My Roots, which officially opened yesterday at the Omba Gallery in Windhoek. Haihambo says the exhibition is more than an art showcase, describing it as an awareness campaign centered on wildlife conservation and cultural heritage. He explained that each piece reflects his connection to nature and his identity, using art as a platform to highlight the importance of protecting wildlife while preserving cultural roots. Here he is. Let's take a look.
Good evening, everyone. I really appreciate your time to come here, be with us. My name is Jeremiah Haihambo. I'm from Ngwena region, Anono. I'm currently based in Windhoek, and this is my solo exhibition titled Wildlife is My Asset, Culture is My Root. The motive behind the exhibition is an awareness campaign for my wildlife and culture, because I'm from the culture background. You see this piece here, that is how we live, how we build our house where I'm from. And the wildlife, people are destroying the wildlife, specifically rhinos, pangolins and other species. People are killing for its feature. In my culture, where I'm from, majority of people now they are starting following the trend and abandon their own culture, which is not good. Because if you distance yourself from culture, then you lose your identity.
In our community talk, entrepreneurs in Kori has received guidance on funding opportunities, while International Training College Lingua reflects on a remarkable 25-year journey. A business information session was held at the Korihas Town Council chamber on Wednesday, where entrepreneurs and members of the local business community received guidance on funding opportunities. Small and medium enterprise analyst Eunice Williams said the lesson aimed to inform the business community about the Development Bank of Namibia's products, as well as providing guidance on applications to the National Youth Development Fund. He encouraged applicants to ensure they submit complete and well-prepared applications to improve their chances of success. According to officials, 13 applications were received from Korihas for the National Youth Development Fund, while a total of 600 applications were recorded across the Kunene region. Applicants also had the opportunity to engage in one-on-one consultations with the DBN team during the visit. We'll be taking a look at our economic news shortly. Shen Jian, Minister Consular at the Chinese Embassy in Namibia, said the newly inaugurated Rosing Foundation facility in Ondangwa is expected to benefit between 20,000 and 30,000 local students and community members. He said that the center will help supplement education and empower communities through improved access to learning resources and development support. Shen expressed gratitude to the Rosing Foundation for its contribution and encouraged more Chinese companies operating in Namibia to strengthen their corporate social responsibility efforts in support of community development. Here he is.
I also heard that this facility will benefit at least 20,000 to 30,000 local students and community members, and the potential beneficiaries could reach 60 to 80,000 people. This is indeed a marvelous project, which comes at a right time as Her Excellency President Nandi Ndaitwah and the Namibian government have emphasized so much on the importance of education and youth empowerment. I applaud the Rosing Uranium for answering the call of President Ndaitwah and the Namibian government in this regard by this major donation. And the embassy encourages more Chinese companies to follow their good example. With the strong leadership of President Ndaitwah, Namibia has made great strides in its national social and economic development. Like many foreign observers, I firmly believe that Namibia will witness a rapid development in all its national undertakings in the coming 5 to 10 years. China will continue to be a major development partner for Namibia, and we are ready to provide even greater support for our Namibian friends in areas of your needs. In conclusion, I wish
Yangon has invested roughly $1 million into ensuring the compliance of its drivers, but continues to face challenges within what it described as a slow and restrictive bureaucratic system. According to the platform's general manager in Namibia, Alex Mungai, Mungai made the remarks while participating in a panel discussion hosted by Sanlam Alliance, which focus on the evolving landscape of taxis and e-hailing platforms. Here he is.
So it becomes a tad difficult to be able to fully appreciate the fullness of regulation, whereas Yangon is fully willing and indeed has even invested in the drivers to make sure that they're fully compliant with the provisions of the government. So yes, we've invested a fair amount, actually towards $1 million, just to make sure that every driver on the platform has an opportunity to be compliant. This is our commitment as a brand, but there are regulatory frictions that just impede the entire process. Some of these things include things like the fact that the process towards regulation takes months. You know, it's not instant. I can't just walk into an office and then get out with a PCP and say that I'm compliant. So there's a long process to it. You know, I have to go to the police, and NAMPOL has been very supportive as well to this effort. I have to go get a COC with the police. I have to go get my vehicle inspected, and I have to book a schedule for it. I have to get all these applications again with RA. RA again has a board behind it as well that vets all this. These have to be published as well in the newspaper. This entire process can be a rather lengthy process.
We now swing over to the financial indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 21.80, against the euro at 18.81, against the US dollar at 16.56, $2 Namibian dollars and 44 cents gets you one Chinese yuan. On the commodities market, all major commodities went up, with Brent crude oil trading at 0.98%, going for $75.15 per barrel. In international news, Zimbabwe's Senate has overwhelmingly approved controversial constitutional amendments that could allow President Emmerson Mnangagwa to remain in office until 2030. The amendments received strong backing in the upper house on Wednesday, with Senate President Mabel Chino Mona announcing that the 75 senators voted in favor of the bill, while 4 voted against it. The legislation had already passed through the National Assembly earlier this month. Among the proposed changes is an extension of presidential and parliamentary terms from 5 to 7 years. If enacted, the measure would effectively extend Mnangagwa's final constitutionally permitted term beyond its current limit of 5 years. All right, that concludes our international news. We now take a look at the weather predictions for tomorrow. Adamsvlei can expect a minimum of 16 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 25 degrees Celsius with partly cloudy conditions, while Henties Bay can enjoy partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 12 and a maximum of 16 degrees Celsius. The capital city can expect a minimum of 11 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 22 degrees Celsius with partly cloudy conditions. In the east, Kobabes can expect a minimum of 12 and a maximum of 24 degrees Celsius with sunny weather conditions. Here is Ari Hohad with the sports news.
Good day, everyone. Time for international sports news, and starting off with soccer news first. That's from the 2026 FIFA World Cup being played in America, Canada and Mexico. Big news from Group A is that South Africa beat South Korea in their last group game, and they qualify now for the last knockout stages. They're one of the 32 teams that go through to the next round. That's the first time in the World Cup history that South Africa qualified for the knockout phases. And it was Tabelo Maseko that scored South Africa's only goal in the second half, and that is for a 1-0 win over South Korea. South Africa now qualify for the round of 32 and will play against Canada, and that game will be played in Los Angeles and not in Canada. That is because Canada lost their last group game against Switzerland by 2-1 and will not play their round of 32 games in their home country. So Canada need to travel to Los Angeles to play against Bafana Bafana on Sunday. In another Group A game, it was Mexico that remain in Mexico for the group of 32 games because they beat the Czech Republic comfortably by 3-0. And it is also Bosnia that beat Qatar by 3-1. Moving on to cricket news, and it's another World Cup taking place. It's the Women's T20 World Cup in England and Wales, and a big result for the home team. It was England that qualified for the semi-finals with 1 game to spare. That's after beating the West Indies by 38 runs, and that game was played at Lord's. It was England that scored 186 for the loss of 7 wickets in their allotted 20 overs, and then West Indies got to 148 for the loss of 5 in their allotted 50 overs. To close off today's international sports news, it is tennis news. It is Wimbledon that will start on Monday. That will be played in London, and it is players that will continue their prize money protest in the tournament, and they protest by having limited time offered for media. They're protesting because they say that the prize money is not enough at this stage. It is about 15% of the total revenue that's paid for prize money for the players. And it is Wimbledon that did increase the prize money this year by 20%. So the players will get more, but they still say in the media conferences, they will just give 15 minutes media time for the media. The total prize money for this year's Wimbledon tournament will be €64 million, and the winner of the tournament will receive €3.6 million. With that, we conclude international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we'll talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Thank you for tuning in all week and catching up on the latest news with Sunset News. From me, Glenora Shipura. Until next time.